became a female that was very, very old when they did so and could not pass. So they got mad and fought to become non-binary, which then picked up by a bunch of teens who've made a bunch of jibber-wash out of it. I mean, like being connected to the stars. That's not a gender. When you feel that your gender is of the ocean, that's not a gender. When you feel your gender is of the earth, that's not a gender. Gender deals with the way an animal thinks and operates, and their clusters then have sets that cause attraction. And these different sets can be off somewhat, and you'll have males that are attracted to males and females that are attracted to females, and mostly females that are attracted to both and a few males that are attracted to both. They also will have a female brain and a male body, and a male brain and a female body, but it's not a spectrum. The physical body is on a spectrum, but the neuroanatomy is not, and it is shown so far that it is not. So therefore, until a neuroanatomist comes up and says it's on a spectrum, you don't listen to a psychologist, you do not listen to a history major. Oh, there's no such thing as a male and female brain. And your field is in what? History. Okay, wrong. You do not decide whether there is a male or female brain, and there's structures that support this. And so therefore, when a neuroanatomist says there is a difference between a male and female brain, you cannot counteract it with your idiocy. So go take your little Australian ass, sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up, bitch. Stop being a feminist. Stop trying to push your point over others when you have no ability in saying what's going on. Now my state is trying to make it illegal for trans kids to be themselves. And they're going to try to get puberty blockers where they can arrest the doctors for giving such, which is really bad for them because that's what they did back in the McHugh days, and it's got to be stopped. So what we need to do is stop muddling up the waters with the bullshit she-males running around saying they're trans females and saying that you don't have to have an operation and you don't have to do this and you can do that and this and that and the other. We need to stop the bigots and idiots from trying to overstep science. Science is an absolute. Lawyers are liars. That's what their job is, literally, to lie, to make up a fantastic story, and they call that a theory. I have a theory. It's my line of bullshit to try to get my client off so you pay me back, big bucks too. And so they think a theory is exactly what they think a theory is. But in all actuality, scientific theory is this. Scientific theory is facts, supporting a hypothesis that is then moved to theory, because we will never say it is a fact for the fact of one reason. Because science is ever evolving and changing. The more we learn about one question, the more questions that pop up. From one question may pop up 20. So we only give the highest regards of theory because science is always changing. It's like this. We used to call the X chromosome the mitochondrial DNA. We had no idea that the mitochondrial DNA was inside the mitochondria because we didn't really have an understanding back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s of genetics. Now, around 2000, we started getting to the point where we could actually pinpoint a criminal or a deadbeat father to the point where it was so accurate, there was no way of getting out of it. And that's how things evolved. So we've realized the mitochondria will actually trap symbiotic bacteria inside the cell. And they have their own DNA, and they reproduce. So this is actually a symbiotic relationship, and the X chromosome is actually being run by bacteria that are somehow taking cytosinic just the opposite. Wait a minute, and then we trace it back down, and what do we find? Two different kinds of bacteria that are feeding off of each other's processes. That somehow the eukaryote enslaved, both of them. The ones that got the senescent, the blue-green algae, moved up to plants. The ones who got the mitochondria became animals, and that includes insects like cockroaches and spiders and anything that moves, creeps, and crawls. simple. But you don't get it because you don't study it. A scientist doesn't study. He learns. He doesn't just study one thing. He learns everything about it. He takes the physical stuff and actually works with it on tests. It's not just studying in a book. It's actually hands-on in the field, working with the material itself. So they ripped the brains out of these transsexuals, some both that did and did not get changes, and found that they all had female BSTCs. But the G and Cs, the ones that knew afterwards, were left out for a reason. Because that BSTC was male. Blair White's BSTC is male. That's why he did not know from day one.